It's no wonder there are so many people who are skeptical about miracles. On one hand, you have what seems to be like snake oil salesmen, promising if you just muster up enough faith, it's a done deal. You will be healed. And on the other hand, you will have a stately looking pastor who wants you to believe that the time of miracles, signs, and wonders are all gone, without any specific scriptural precedence that says they will cease. There has to be a better middle ground. That's why today I'm going to explore the balance between miracles and unbelief today on Church Door. Well, hey there, what's up? My name is Ian and welcome back to Church Door. We're so glad that you're taking a little bit of your time to be with us here again today. Do us a quick favor and give this video a like. It shoots it up in the algorithm so other people just like you can also be blessed by this content today. We also want to say we're here every Sunday at 11:30 Central Standard Time and we want to pray with you. We'd love to walk with you. So go ahead and hit us up in the chat or you can text prayer to the number you see coming up on the screen right now. So it wasn't until this week, seriously, this week that I found out that I'm blind. I didn't even know it. Now, how is it that I have gone this far into my adult life and I've never known that I was blind? I guess the fact that I've never wore glasses and I have 20/20 vision, I could spot a raccoon from a mile away.
Spotting those raccoons!
Have all fooled me into missing that I have blindness. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're blind too. Every single one of us are blind. It's true. Go ahead, look it up. Every human being has a physical blind spot on their eyes called the scotoma. This is the part of your eye, it's kind of a wiring point where the optical nerve meets the retina, and there are no photoreceptor cells. So it's literally impossible for you to see out of your eye at that point. So logically, you're probably saying, well, if I'm blind, why can I not tell that I'm blind? Well, the truth is that your brain fills in the rest of that information. It's making guesses based on the surrounding information that it receives. Now, I know the super skeptical people are saying this. I don't know about that, Ian. It sounds a little far-fetched. Well, let me prove it to you by showing you your blind spot. Look at this image. By holding it about arm's length away, first close your eye on the right side, and then with your left eye, focus on the right side of the image. As you've done that, begin to pull the image towards you slowly. As you focus on the right image, you will see the image on the left at some point will begin to disappear. That is your blind spot. Sorry. I couldn't resist it. If you didn't see it the first time, I encourage you to go ahead and go back, pause the video, and when you have a device in your hand, try it again because this is truly a crazy experience. You know, I've noticed for many years being a follower of Jesus that there are oftentimes places that we develop blind spots in our theology or our biblical understanding, especially when it comes to the controversial topic of miracles. It's pretty easy to form a view on this topic that lays distinctly in one camp or another, and then completely turn a blind eye to the other point of view. And regarding healing and miracles, generally there's two pretty distinct ideas around miracles. It's the cessationists and the continuists. Cessationists lean towards a ceasing of healings and miracles that we see in scriptures, most likely sometime shortly after the first century. And a continuous, on the other hand, would believe that, well, of course, these things have continued. Unfortunately, where we develop a blind spot are in the extremes of either one of these points of view. Many people identify themselves being in one camp or the other, and then they vilify the opposite camp. But what if neither extreme is completely right? What if there is a more balanced view somewhere in the middle? One that accounts for and actually seeks out miracles and healing. Yet it leaves the results, the providence, and the discretion up to God. There very well may be times that healing does not happen, but not from a lack of actually bringing it to God. And to be honest, I much rather bring my needs before God and let Him decide how to deal with them than to do nothing and ultimately receive nothing. So in the pursuit of finding this balance, I want to dial in on one of the most memorable questions that Jesus ever asked, which is, who touched me? Within this question, we see a deep desire for Jesus to bring healing. It's in the most miraculous and complete fashion, being both physical and spiritual. This story has details that may very well reflect your story, the obstacles, the struggles that stand between you and your miracle. So let's dive into this story together today in Luke chapter 8, verses 42 through 48. As Jesus went, the people pressed around him, and there was a woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years. And though she had spent all her living on physicians, she could not be healed by anyone. She came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment, and immediately her discharge of blood ceased. And Jesus said, "Who was it that touched me?" When all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the crowds surround you and are pressing in on you." Jesus said, "Someone touched me, for I perceive that the power has gone out from me." And when the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling and falling down before him, declared in the presence of all the people why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." So what do these scriptures teach us about pursuing miracles? Well, first, our emergency is only an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to do one of two things. We can either press into Jesus or we can bug out. I can hear some of you already in the back of your mind saying, well, I thought I was pressing into Jesus, but I still haven't seen the miracle that I'm looking for. And okay, I hear you, but this is where the details of the story highlight what it really means to press into Jesus. You have to understand the number of obstacles standing in the way of this woman were tremendous. For her, this was a 12-year journey. And over that 12 years, she had given everything to find an answer. And only to find that at every juncture that she tried to pursue was a dead end. But not only that, her condition would have rendered her ceremonially unclean. Therefore, to add insult to injury, she was also cast aside culturally. She was looked down upon. And of course, if that wasn't enough already, there was yet another obstacle. The obstacle of actually positioning herself in that sea of people. The scene that was described to us is there's a mob of people pressing up against Jesus. So you can imagine that she had to push, prod, and even shift her way through that crowd to have any hope of touching the one who could actually work a miracle in her life. I can't help but imagine that this is many of us. The obstacles that stand between us and a miracle of God are massive. The question is, have we exhausted everything? Have we stayed faithful on even the long road? And have we pushed through all of the barriers that are keeping us from the miracle worker, Jesus? But here's the even deeper truth. After getting through all of those barriers, there was no guarantee that this woman would actually find healing. Think about all the other people that were pressing onto Jesus. They were probably there for the exact same thing, healing, for a miracle. Yet it was in her tenacious spirit that did not give up, that did not bug out, but it pressed in. It was through that spirit that she found the healing that she had long been praying for. So here's my final thought. The healing that Jesus gives is more than the healing we often seek. In this narrative, after she touches Jesus, immediately she's healed. But Jesus, he didn't stop there. Jesus could have moved on. He didn't have to say anything, but let's be honest, if he could feel the power going out of him, he probably knew exactly who had touched him. But the physical healing that took place was not the only healing that Jesus wanted to give. So he calls her out. You can imagine her embarrassment, a ceremonially unclean person being called out for touching Jesus, the Messiah. And here she came, just trembling and falling down before him and saying, it was me, Jesus, I did it. I imagine there was a huge gasp in the crowd, like, oh, that lady, oh, she's unclean. How dare her? How dare her think that she can be healed? And then Jesus looks at her and he addresses her in a specific way. A lot of the time we just jump right to the part about faith, which is important. Yes, we must have complete trust in Jesus and what he can do in our lives. But this one simple address is just as important as all of the rest of the things that Jesus said in this passage. What did he call her? He called her daughter. Now you can imagine how she felt in this moment. 12 years she had this physical ailment, and now all of a sudden, immediately, it was gone. In 12 years, she had been cast aside culturally, and now Jesus was restoring her in one simple word, daughter. Friend, whatever pain you're going through, Jesus doesn't just want to heal your physical body. He wants to restore your soul as a son, as a daughter of the Most High God. And when I think about this, my mind goes right to Luke 10, which is where we will end today on this verse where it says, don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This is not a cat and mouse hide and seek game we're in. If your little boy asks for a serving of fish, do you scare him with a live snake on his plate? If your little girl asks for an egg, do you trick her with a spider? As bad as you are, you wouldn't think of such a thing. You're at least decent to your own children. And don't you think the Father who conceived you in love will give the Holy Spirit when you need him? Your ability to come right to Jesus is open and available. And he's not just looking to heal you physically. God is looking to do much more than we can even imagine. We just have to continue through all the pain, through all the suffering, to press in towards him. And believe me, friends, he's looking to heal us completely. Our mind, our body, and our soul. Just like Jesus did with this woman. If that's you today and you need healing in your life, we've got a team of people here that want to walk with you. We want to reach out to you. So if you could hit us up in the chat, or you can text prayer to the number on the screen. We would love to walk with you wherever you find yourself today. And whatever you're praying through, we want to pray with you. Hey, thank you so much for coming to be with us again here today. If you do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time we put out a piece of content, it's going to come directly to you. Or you can go the extra mile by going to rivervalleyrockford.org/give and making a donation there. Every single cent of that money goes right back into this ministry, helping other people just like you take their next step with Jesus. Our prayer for you this week is that you don't give up. Those barriers that stand between you and Jesus, you keep pressing through until you get right up to him, because he's looking to restore you. And that this week, this would be the week that you find your restoration. Go in that blessing, and we'll see you again here next week.